Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Winston. So I turn 50 this year, and to celebrate, last week I went skydiving. And for a few months, I went back and forth and struggled with whether I should do it or not. And my son, thank you. I'm going to need that way shortened. No? Okay. This is fine. So then my son said to me, Mom, the best way to approach these situations is to just trust that everything is safe and secure, and you're working with professionals who know what they're doing, and just have fun with it. And so that's what I focused on. So the day arrived, and we went up in the plane, and we went higher and higher and higher to 10,000 feet. And then I was doing just fantastic. I just kept telling myself all the way up that everything was safe, and in a few moments I was going to soar like an eagle. And then the door opened, and people started jumping out. And then it was my turn, nudging towards the door. I could see the curve of the earth and everything in between. We had to step out onto a step, right on the edge, on the outside of the airplane. We're standing on the step. The most frightening part was looking down 10,000 feet and taking that step off the airplane. But even though I was terrified, I made the leap. For the first few seconds, I had that falling feeling, like when you're on a roller coaster. But then it just felt like floating and flying. It was absolutely amazing, and the scary views turned into spectacular views, and the parachute opened when it was supposed to. And it was just absolutely glorious. And I landed safely. I did it. How cool is that? So I was so excited about that. But you know, it made me think the most scary part in that whole process was just up here. It was one step in that entire process. And a few years ago, I made a similar leap with a huge mindset shift in my life. And it all started when one day I had a phone call that no wife wants to receive. And it was my husband's boss, and he said to come to the hospital right away because my husband had been in a horrible accident. All the way to the hospital, I thought, I'm not going to lose my best friend today. When I got to the hospital, I didn't recognize him. He was covered in blood. He was blue and purple. His chest was caved in. They told me his lung was punctured, and he had multiple breaks and fractures throughout his body. He didn't look good, and things didn't seem to be going well. But he survived. He's here tonight. And the days and weeks and months to follow were extremely difficult. Years, really, were difficult on him and the whole family. He was left with multiple injuries, and I had to drive him from doctor to doctor. And I was exhausted. But what really kept me going was I was motivated by my love's wonderful courage and strength and determination to turn his life into something good. And what really impacted me was I saw that the communities my husband had been involved in before his accident now rallied around and supported him. For example, he was a football coach and announcer, and football players and coaches would come around and say, "We're here for you, Coach Paul," and that really encouraged him. And, you know, he had over 100 visitors in the first few weeks, over 100 visitors. Guess how many visitors I had? 0. Because I had let myself become isolated. I was stuck. Have you ever felt stuck? I'd become stuck in my life and business. I'd always been a part-time entrepreneur, and I just was never able to break through to full-time. There was just something missing. But it was at this time, against all odds, I decided to take the leap and become a full-time business owner so that I could have the flexibility to care for my husband. And I did it. I thought to myself, how am I going to make a full-time paycheck month after month? But I did it. And it took 3 major mindset shifts that I experienced that really changed my life. And the first thing was I built a community. And I invited business owners to join me for lunch one day. And to my surprise that day, 50 business owners showed up. And it was clear to me that there was a need for deeper connection. And I found out that for anything to work, you need to be part of a community. And you have to build your own circle of support around you. It's not going to build itself. And people will help you if you show up to be helped. And so that one meeting turned into a group. And that group turned into multiple chapters throughout the Lower Mainland. And the reason is because people want to connect. And guess what? People want to connect with you. Point to the person beside you and say, people want to connect with you. People want to connect with you. Yeah. And it's all about what you can give, not take. And I learned how to collaborate instead of compete because we're stronger together. Wouldn't you agree? And the second thing is, I had to learn how to be courageous. And I had to have the courage to admit to myself that ideas alone are not enough. Entrepreneurs have an abundance of overflowing ideas. But ideas don't do much unless you turn them into action. That's the only way to get results. Make no mistake, if you're going to change the world or create a movement, your reasons have to be stronger than your excuses. That's what I learned. No more excuses. The third thing is clarity. I had to have clarity around my passion and purpose. There's a lot said on those topics, and so I thought I knew, right? But there's a difference between knowing and doing. And so I had to really dig deep and discover what my passion was. And I really had to ask myself, what really fires me up? So if you don't know your passion, ask yourself, what really fires you up? What really makes you uniquely you? And then, I really want you to know that you are a brilliant genius that has much to offer the world. And I'm telling you that because that's what I learned to accept in myself. You have gifts that the world needs, and there's no one else like you. When you've been hiding for a long time, leaving your comfort zone to meet new people can be very challenging. But I can tell you firsthand that we're meant to connect with people in deeper, more meaningful ways. My story is about a journey to connection, and I found out that connecting and collaborating with others works better for me than being isolated and working alone. You know the one step you need to take. I took it. And when you take that first step, I can tell you, it eliminates the fear. And when we take the leap with community, courage, and clarity, we find our dreams. Thank you.